What's going on YouTube? JT is born here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Nightwing issue number 114, Fallen Grayson, part 1 of 5. This is the final section of Tom Taylor's run. We are finally bringing Heartless back into the fold. It's something I've complained about for, I don't know, however many months at this point, because it felt like we just took a big detour with that character. But now that character is finally at the forefront of it all. We can finally see where they're going to go with this thing, and it actually feels like there's some actual stakes and some grittiness and some weight to the storyline for once. Thank goodness. I mean, I like a little bit of fluff here and there for sure, but my goodness, like after a while, it gets a little bit tiresome. So, Heartless is in here. He does some very mean, nasty things. We get some flashbacks to Dick Grayson. Tom Taylor wrote this, and Bruno Redondo was the artist on it. And there's some really incredible artwork here. I mean, look at the page layout right here with, you know, the two images to the far left and right that kind of like mirror each other, but you have the stuff in between. It's like almost like a building with the way it's like kind of constructed. I really love the artwork by Bruno Redondo in this particular issue. I think it is fantastic. We also get some flash forwards to a few weeks as Dick Grayson is there with his beard and all that, so that tells you there's been a passage of time, and he's got his dog with him, and he's obviously off into, you know, doing his little quest, because when characters are off like hiking alone in the mountains and all that, they're usually on some sort of quest together. Also, that snow is pretty thick, and why doesn't he get his little dog, like, I don't know if he has some, you know, little shoe boots for the dog, but no, I mean, protect that thing's paws. Come on, Dick, you're supposed to be this billionaire. You can't afford some little booties for the dog when they're walking in the snow. But that's just me. So anyways, he's off doing that. Artwork looks great, by the way. And then we see Heartless right here. Finally, some knit and grit to this villain. I mean, yeah, he's been ripping hearts out, and he's the total opposite of Dick Grayson, but you really feel like even the villains are kind of scared of him, and I really like this. He takes like this one guy, he's like, I ain't gonna work for you. He's kidnapped all their children of these other villains, rips the heart out of this one really strong dude right in front of his daughter, and then he kind of brands everyone. So, like, yes, finally, some knit and grit to this character, make him ruthless. I mean, he's somebody who we know has a history with Dick Grayson. He's just a really unlikable a-hole from the get-go. Dick Grayson, of course, has some sort of fear going on with him, and he's going to try to find some way, I'm sure, later on in this arc to kind of overcome that fear that just randomly started getting triggered. He came across a thief who was just stealing rotisserie chicken, and there's kind of a bit of a conflict with him. It was like, I mean, he's just stealing stuff. He's still doing some stuff. But anyways, he goes to this Alfred Pennyworth Foundation thing. He's got his thing with Barbara Gordon. He's got his dog. Damien even shows up at one point. He's all dressed up here. I wish they would draw him a little bit taller, considering he's, you know, a teenager in high school. I mean, but they always want to make him look really small and all that. But yeah, so he's there. He has a little repertoire. He talks about how much, you know, he sees that kind of douchey guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I took his teeth out, and I'm like, oh, I'm happy to hear that. So there's a little bit of attitude and sass with him in this, so that's always appreciated. So anyways, he's talking this thing. Somebody, like, reporters like, hey, what's with all the blood money? The Pennyworth Foundation is like, wait, what? What's going on here? And then the fire alarms go off, and now it's time for the fall of Dick Grayson. So Heartless let him, you know, get his stuff out there, let him kind of rise a little bit to prominence within the city, and now he's just going to tear it all down because it's more fun that way, and he's just an asshole, just hates Dick Grayson. Even when, like, his parents were murdered as a kid, he was there, wow, that's amazing. So this is a really, like, messed up character. So, yeah, this is the first part of it all. I actually like this because finally we're back on the Heartless thing after so long and being away from it and so many detours. There's some knit and grit to the storyline, and it just has more tension. There's a little bit more bite this time around. I'm like, finally, we're going to move into this final story arc, and then we can kind of move in a bit of a new direction. So, and the artwork by Bruno Redondo is really incredibly well done. So I actually like this issue. I'm glad we're finally making some progress on this thing after so many months and months and months of kind of just random side filler arcs, to be honest, is what it kind of felt like. But we're kind of back in the nitty-gritty things. We're finally focusing on Heartless after the character just took a back seat for so long after they appeared at the start of this run. And I was just kind of having issues with that because it's like you set this character up and you don't really do anything with them for so long. But now we're finally here, and I'm ready for the conclusion of this. Hopefully it's not bogged down by too many times. We can actually have this a really Dick Grayson focused storyline where he actually has to do stuff on his own instead of always having to rely on everybody else. And yeah, he still gets a lot of praise in this issue, and I feel like a lot of people have kind of pointed that out where, I mean, so many characters like, wow, Dick Grayson's so great, wow, Dick Grayson's so great. They have to tell us constantly about how great he is, And I'm kind of enjoying the fact that somebody's like, okay, here's somebody who's going to try and like soil his name a little bit, to kind of get the opposite of that with these, you know, the stuff with the villain working that stuff, you know what I mean, the stuff where they kind of reveal that later on. So yeah, like now Heartless is trying to sully his name and just kind of take over his city and all that. So I'm excited for that aspect, because it's like, okay, it's kind of the opposite of what we've been kind of seeing for the most of the run. And you know, Dick Grayson's a great character, and some praise here and there is great, but when it just kind of gets to like every issue about everyone's like, wow, he's so amazing, after a while you're like, okay, I get it, I get it, yeah, like you don't have to tell us constantly, we already know he's awesome. That's why he has 100 plus issues, and he's one of the most iconic characters in DC Comics. But yeah, so this is a pretty solid issue. Like I said, it added some stakes to it. We get a little tease of like the weeks ahead. Although, Dick, why aren't you giving your dog some little booties? You're all bundled up there. You could afford some dog boots or a vest or something, because that is really cold and very far for that poor dog to have to walk in the mountains and all that, especially with its just 3 legs. But yeah. Anyways, pretty solid issue overall. I'm excited to see where we go from here. Hopefully it doesn't get bogged down by like all these like tie-ins and all that. And we can just have a really strong Dick Grayson focused storyline where he's kind of on his own doing something. He doesn't have to rely on everybody else around him, and the Titans kind of bailing him out constantly and just cleaning up all crime in existence. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully they can stick the line with this, because Tom Taylor can write some good stuff. I just hope that, you know, we get that in this arc. So yeah, but anyways, those are my thoughts on the issue. What did you think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that fun stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.